aren't we?
Okay. I thought 33 and 34, but I guess it is 34 and 35. Okay.
Yeah, they are the verses together. I mean, that's what you
yes, put it on there. Yeah, I don't have my phone with me right now.
No worries, Mataji. So I'll just touch briefly on 33 just in case. So it's all continuation, so it should be fine. Yeah. Okay, Mataji. So I'll just give me a minute. So. So Mataji, shall I do the Mangalacharan or
Okay. You can do the Mangalacharan, please, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So, Om Jnana Timirandhyasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeaham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Takta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you, Matajis and Prabhujis, for giving me this opportunity to do the service today, to serve Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, verses 34 and 35. I start my service by offering my prayers and obeisances to you, to my Guru, to the Lordships, and to all of you. Without his mercy, I wouldn't have been able to be here. So I'll quickly read the two verses. So verses 34 and 35, they are together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yecha pralambakara dardusha keshi arishta maleva kamsa yavanaha kapi pondraka tyaha anyecha shalva kuja balfala dantavakra saptaksha shambara vidurata rukmi mukhya Yeva mride samiti shalina ata chapaha kamboja matsya kuru shrinjaya kaikayatya yashyanti adarshanam alam bala partha bhima vyajahevena harina nilayam tattiyam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All demonic personalities like Pralamba, Tenuka, Baka, Keshi, Arishta, Chanura, Mushtika, Kuvalayapida elephant, Kamsa, Yavana, Narakasura, and Pondraka, great marshals like Shalva, Dvivida, Monkey, and Balvala, Dantavakra, the seven bulls, Shambara, Vidurata, and Rukmi, as also great warriors like Kamboja, Matsya, Kuru, Srinjaya, and Kekaya, would all fight vigorously either with the Lord Hari directly or with him under his names of Baladeva, Arjuna, Bhima, etc. And the demons thus being killed would attain either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or his personal abode in the Vaikuntha planets. Purport: all manifestations in both the material and spiritual worlds are demonstrations of the different potencies of Lord Krishna. The personality of Godhead Baladeva is his immediate personal expansion, and Bhima, Arjuna, etc. are his personal associates. The Lord would appear, and he does so whenever he appears, with all his associates and potencies. Therefore, the rebellious souls, like the demons and demoniac men mentioned by names like Pralamba, would be killed either by the Lord himself or by his associates. All these affairs will be clearly explained in the 10th canto. But we should know well that all the above-mentioned living entities killed would attain salvation either by being merged in the Brahmajyoti of the Lord or being allowed to enter into the abodes of the Lord called the Vaikunthas. This has already been explained by Bhishma Deva in the 1st canto. All persons who anticipated in the battlefield of Kurukshetra or otherwise with the Lord or with Baladeva, etc., would benefit by attaining spiritual existence according to the situation of their minds at the time of death. Those who recognized the Lord would enter Vaikuntha, and those who estimated the Lord as only a powerful being would attain salvation by merging into the spiritual existence of the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord. But every one of them would get released from material existence. Since such is the benefit of those who played with the Lord inimically, one can imagine what would be the position of those who devoutly serve the Lord in transcendental relationship with him. Hare Krishna. So, such a beautiful verse. We are seeing over here that it is a continuation of Krishna's pastimes. And this chapter, chapter 7, talks about the various leelas of Krishna's, the leela pastimes, Krishna being, the master of leelas. So we are looking into the leelas of Krishna or the various leelas of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in whichever form he comes to this material world in. The last 10 verses from verse 26, we see that the chapter is describing about Lord Krishna's pastimes when he came to this material world during Dwapar Yuga. And we have seen the pastimes of, starting with the pastimes of Putana, then pastimes covering the pastimes of Kaliya, the forest fire, the Damodar Leela, that pastime, when Nanda Maharaj was saved, when he entered Yamuna and he was dragged down. Then the Govardhan pastime. Then in the last verse we saw the pastime of Shankachura, where Shankachura, the demon, he was an associate of Kuvera, and being very, very wealthy and very, very proud, he tried to kidnap all the damsels, all the gopis of Vrindavan, and the Lord beheaded him. This verse, these two verses are together, verses 34 and 35 together, and they complete the pastimes of Lord Krishna mentioned in this chapter. However, we are told in the purport that all these pastimes will be elaborately discussed in the 10th canto, when Krishna's birth and his entire appearance and life on this material world in Dwapar Yuga will be described in more details. In this verse, we see a lot of other demons being mentioned. like Pralamba, Dhenuka, Bakasura, Keshi, Krishna's, and various of Krishna's names come from these pastimes, as we know that Krishna has names given to him primarily in three ways. He has his names given to him either because of his qualities, like say, like Parthasarathi, or he was the Sarathi of Partha, who was Arjuna, or sometimes, many a times he's given names from or say from what he does, so from his activities or qualities, like Parthasarathi or Keshava. Keshava, the killer of the demon Keshi, or say Madhava, the husband of Madhavi, who is the goddess of fortune. So he's named many a times through the qualities or the activities that he does. He's also named according to the relationships that he has with others or his associates, like, Yashoda Nandan, the son of Yashoda, or Devaki Nandan. So many a times he is called by his relationships with others. And thirdly, he's also named based on the place he is at the moment, Gokul Nandan, or Dwarikadish, the king of Dwarika, or Vrajanandan, or, the son of Vraja. So we see when we are reading through the names of these demons, many a times we will see, either in the Bhagavad Gita or elsewhere in the Shastras, we will notice how many times Krishna has been named based on either these demons or the activities with an associate, or, where he had been, or his relationship with these people who are being named in the various pastimes or the Leelas. So as we go through the list today, we will see, as we see the list today, there are quite a few of them. And when we read the various Shastras, we will recognize Krishna's name from the pastimes he has done with these various personalities. So in the last verse, as we saw, we were talking about Shankachura, who was running away with the gopis, and Krishna caught him and severed his head. Now, why does Krishna come? We know Krishna has told us in the Bhagavad Gita that Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chadushkritam, and he comes yuge yuge. He comes every single time the demons create mischief, and then he comes to save the devotees and save them from those who are non-devotees, or people who are causing trouble on Mother Earth, or the demons. The demons in the previous ages, we are seeing they are demons as in, they had a stature of a demon, but ultimately we also understand that demons are only not in their external qualities or external looks, but it's also demons as in the demoniac qualities that people have. So when Krishna comes in every yuga, or whenever and wherever there is an upheaval of such demoniac activities on this material world, Krishna comes either to kill the demons or take away the demoniac qualities from people, as he did with Jagai and Madai, when he, when he showed his mercy on Jagai and Madai, who had hugely demoniac characteristics, but he took away those from them and made them pure devotees. Now, in his past, so we see that in his pastimes, some demons are real demons. And when we say real demons, the demons who are really, really enemies to him and inimical towards Krishna. But there are some acting demons as well, okay? And they took up the role of demons for the pleasure of Krishna. So we see Jaya and Vijay, in Vaikuntha world, the doorkeepers in Vaikuntha, they came as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh, and then later on as Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and then Shishupal and Dantavakra, and performed the Veer Rasa with Krishna and gave him that pleasure. Because in the Vaikunthas, everybody loves Krishna. So to give Krishna that pleasure of having that Leela and getting into that mellows of Veer Rasa, we see demons coming, such devotees coming as demons. But there is a difference. There is a difference between the demons who are real demons, who are really, really enemies of Krishna, and the demons who are associates of Krishna, but took up the role of demons in the material world for the pleasure of Krishna. And what is the difference? So we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was, a brilliant actor, and that is what the Lord does. He makes his associates, the associates, they do acting on this world as well when they come as demon, but they are brilliant actors to such an extent that they play the role to the last dot on the I, to the T. So they play the role really, really well. And we have examples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a brilliant actor, who once played the role of a woman, and everybody thought that he was a real woman. We also see the Lord. He took up the form of Mohini, the woman Mohini, and it was so real that even Lord Shiva was attracted to Mohini. But that is the Lord's inconceivable potency. Ordinary people, when playing roles, would need to change clothes or put on makeup, etc. But when it is Krishna or his devotees playing a role, they become very, very real. So when we are talking about demons, we need to understand, we need to look into which of these demons are real demons and which of these demons are acting demons or playing the role of demons. And through the various pastimes we have come across so far, we have been given an insight into who are the real demons and who are playing the role of demons through the various pastimes. And this is the difference between ordinary drama in the material world and Krishna's pastimes and leelas. So throughout these chapters, when we are being taught about the leelas, this is what we are being impressed upon all the time, that Krishna's pastimes are special. They are not like ordinary leelas that are performed on a daily basis. Now, some people, now when we talk about the verse also alludes to the devotees as well a bit. So we see that devotees, some are eternal associates of Krishna, but some people, they gradually become devotees. They are conditioned souls, and then through practice of devotion, they slowly they are elevated. And they reach through sadhana, and they reach to a level where they are able, or they qualify to come as associates of Krishna. And we are named a few in the verse as well, of like Bhima or Arjuna. So Krishna kills these demons either directly or as his direct expansion as Balaram. And when we go into the 10th canto, we will see that quite a few times. Balaram or Baladev, he also kills the demons, and that is described in the 10th canto. So some of them are, some of these associates, they qualify. Like the sages, they performed austerities to because they wanted to taste that Madhurya Ras, and they were born as the gopis in their next lives. And then the gopis, they wanted that, they were not happy that, you know, they couldn't go out with Krishna, you know, whereas the cowherd boys could go out, and they had their restrictions. So in the Gaura Leela, we had the gopis come as the various associates of Mahaprabhu, but all in the bodies of men. So that they could be with Mahaprabhu all the time. So we are talked about these devotees in the verse, but the demons as well, they are demoniac due to their nature, and they also become demons gradually. So in this material world, the jivas, we all have, due to karma, we all accrue some good karma, accrue some bad karma, and then, you know, there's actions, reactions, and coming into this continual birth and death in this world. So gradually these demons, they accrue more and more bad karma, and because of that, you know, they are given bad qualities, and they, you know, again, based on their free will a bit as well, they choose to take the path of a demon. So similarly, they also become demons gradually, rather than, you know, abruptly. Although, you know, it's all, at the end of the day, it is all the sanction of Krishna. But one important point that this verse is touching upon is that whether it's in the form of a demon or whether it is in the form of a devotee, the ultimate goal of life is to develop the love of Krishna. And, you know, get that closeness to him. We are talked about a kind of liberation in these two verses, but that is, we are told that that really is not the ultimate goal. Now, the ultimate goal is Krishna Prema. And how do we achieve that? How do we, you know, I mean, it is to develop that attachment towards Krishna. How can we do that? It can be done in a favorable way, like the devotees do, and it can be done in an unfavorable way, with an unfavorable attitude towards Krishna, as the demons do. Okay, so when Krishna comes, you know, brings his devotees around him, or gives them, you know, sanctions them so that they're able to practice devotion, that is attachment to Krishna in a favorable way. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.34, and also he repeats this in, you know, 18.65, that man mana bhava, always think of me, always think of me. However, he follows that with the word, with the phrase mad bhakto. How should you think of me? As my devotee, worship me, think of me, or in other words, love me. So Krishna, we are told in the verse, Krishna is so merciful, he is favorable towards everybody. However, Krishna wants us to love him as a devotee, or remember him favorably as a devotee, rather than unfavorably as a demon. So that is also pointed out to us over and over and over through all the leelas that we read about. So all the demons who comes across, who are liberated by Krishna, they are all liberated. They all achieve salvation because Krishna is so merciful. However, Krishna does remind us by talking about devotees or associates in the same leelas. Krishna is pointing to us that, you know, he prefers when we love him, because love is the core of everything. The entire creation is created out of love, of Krishna's love for him. So he's impartial, but he prefers devotees to demons. And that is what we are being told again. And how are we told about that in this verse more particularly? Through the types of liberation that is achieved by the demons and by the devotees. So we are told that when leaving this material body, one thinks of Krishna. If one thinks of Krishna or serving him, and any of his opulences, you know, then we reach Krishna. whether it's his naam, his gun, his pastimes, his leelas, or his qualities. If you think of Krishna in any way, we will reach Krishna. However, the Mahaprabhu, the demons also think of Krishna. We hear about Hamsa in the Krishna Leela, where he is constantly thinking of Krishna. We see Hiranyakashipu or Shishupal or the demons, they are always, or the demons who are employed by Kamsa to come and kill Krishna. They are always thinking about Krishna, but they're thinking about Krishna in the wrong way. And if they are liberated, if they are killed by Krishna, they achieve Brahmajyoti, or they merge with the with Krishna's effulgence. However, Prabhupada calls such a liberation as spiritual suicide. Okay, and why is that so? Because it's Krishna's. What is the identity of our soul? The identity of our soul. We are parts and parcels of the Lord. And who is the Lord? The Lord is Sat Chit Ananda. Okay, eternal knowledge and bliss. That is who the Lord is. And being parts and parcels of the Lord, we are also Sat Chit and Ananda. But we are told by acharyas that what is the Brahman, the effulgence? What is the effulgence of the Lord? The main characteristic of the effulgence of the Lord is it's primarily just Sat. It's the eternity, it's the Sat. Okay, so when the Sat, Chit, and Ananda soul merges into the primarily Sat of the effulgence, it might seem like, when we have oil and some kind of mix, which is mixed into the oil to make the cream. As I was listening to a class, and a Prabhuji was saying, we mix it and we mix it really, really well, and it comes across as a very nice cream, which can be applied on our body. However, over time, that cream will go stale. And as soon as that cream goes stale, the oil will separate from the other materials. It cannot really be together. It cannot, they will separate. It's inevitable. It is just inevitable. Similarly, when we have, souls merging into the Brahmajyoti, there is that, yes, merging as one, as the Mayavadis, they think that is the ultimate merging and being one with the Lord's effulgence. But there is no opportunity to engage in any rasa with the Lord over there, or engage in any loving relationship with the Lord. And that is the main thing that any jiva love to do. Jiver, what is the main duty of the Lord of the souls? To be the Nitya Das, Jiver Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das. So to be the eternal servant of the Lord. And what do we mean by servant? We not in the material sense servant, but serving the Lord out of love. The Lord has everything. All he wants from us is love, and love in various ways, through the various rasa. We have, whether it's the five primary rasas of Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsyala, and Madhurya, or the other seven secondary rasas, like the Vira rasa, Hasya rasa, and the other seven rasas. There are seven rasas, so secondary seven rasas. So being idle and not serving the Lord in any way, many or most of these souls who are merged into this Brahmajyoti, they find themselves hankering for material gratification. So shall I just mute Urmila Mataji? Sorry, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So we see these souls, they are hankering for material gratification, and inevitably they fall back into this material world. because the soul, there's always with the soul, like, the soul is never idle. The soul can never be idle because they're parts and parcel of the Lord, and the Lord is never idle. The Lord is always wanting to engage in some kind of rasa. He created the universe only so that there is some action and exchange of action and exchange of relationships. So that is the reasons we are being told in this verse that this merging into the Lord, or this kind of liberation, is given to the demons. And this kind of liberation, it is called Sayujya Mukti. There are 5 types of liberation. This kind of liberation where you merge with the Lord is Sayujya Mukti. And this is given to the demons who are truly inimical to the Lord, who are real enemies of the Lord. And when do you become real enemies of the Lord? When you're envious of the Lord, because you want to be the master of this universe, and you want separation from the Lord. You want to be your own master, and that envy leads to, we've heard about how it all starts with lust, and then when the lust, and then leads to anger, greed, then illusion, and then ultimately it's envy. So it all primarily starts from being envious of the Lord, and they are the true demons. And when we are doing the leelas, we will know who are the true demons, and truly inimical to the Lord, and they are given the Sayujya Mukti. But what about the other 4 muktis? So there are the other 4 liberations as well, and they are Sarishti Mukti, or Sarishti liberation, which is, achieving the opulences equal to the Lord. So the Lord has innumerable, uncountable opulences, but as we know, the 6 primary opulences which the Lord has to the full is, the wealth, beauty, strength, fame, knowledge, and renunciation. So Sarishti Mukti, or liberation, is given to ones who acquire opulences similar to the Lord. There is Sarupya Mukti, which is, where the souls are given the same form as the Lord. And in many Vaikuntha planets, you would see, people have the same 4 hands. They look like Narayana. But however, you understand who the real Narayana is, you see the feet of the Lord, and there are other ways to recognize the real Narayana, but there are others in the Vaikuntha planets who do look like the Lord. Then you have Samipya liberation, Samipya Mukti, which is living as a personal associate of the Lord. Samipya, close associate of Lord, living as that. And the other one is Salokya Mukti, or living in the Vaikuntha planet, living in the same loka place as the Lord. So we have Sarishti, Sarupya, Samipya, and Salokya. The other 4 liberations. We've talked about Sayujya, merging with the Lord. So what about these other 4 liberations? Are they bad as well? Now, liberation, it's never bad, it's good. However, as devotees of the Lord, we are advised not to hanker for liberation. So our liberation is to eternally serve the Lord. So, our liberation is not to find happiness just to look like the Lord, just to, live close to the Lord, or just to have the opulences of the Lord. Our liberation is when we may or may not acquire any of these, but to have this eternal association of the Lord. Just like Bali Maharaj, he didn't care that he was, sent to Sutala Loka, because the Lord was with him. Whether it's Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, they ruled Maharaj Parikshit, they ruled this material world. They lived in the material world, but they might as well have lived in Golok Vrindavan, because they were always with the Lord, even living in this material world. So that is what we want as devotees. So whereas Sayujya Mukti, merging in the effulgence of the Lord, is absolutely absolutely spiritual suicide, as Prabhupada mentions, the other liberations are also not something we should hanker for. If they come to us, fine, but otherwise our main goal is to serve the Lord eternally. And that is what we are being mentioned again, told again, when we talk about the devotees in this verse. None of them, when we see this verse, they talk about the liberation of the demons. However, when mentioning about the devotees in these two verses, there is no mention of liberation. But what is being mentioned when talking about the devotees in these two verses is that they come as associates of the Lord. And what does that mean? That they are in a loving exchange of relationship with the Lord. And that is the ultimate goal. That is what we need. Yes? Now, if we realize that, that as we said, that again, going on a bit about the liberation, because it is mentioned, we know that the Mayavadis think that it is the ultimate goal of life. But Acharyas also say that why would one want to get oneself a liberation or have a position that Krishna gives to the demons? Why would one want that? Okay, so, we can think of Sayuja Mukti technically that, there is going to be a separation. The souls will fall down in the material world eventually. But if you think of it in a simple way, why would one want to have the same kind of position as the one that Krishna gives to the demons? One wouldn't want that, especially a devotee. We would want to have, a loving exchange, not the result that Krishna gives one when one is an enemy to Krishna. Okay, but because this liberation happens, so one is in that effulgence for a long time. For years we cannot even count of. And because the souls do not go through miseries during that time, whereas in the material world, we go through the threefold miseries of life. But when we're merged in the effulgence, one doesn't go through that miseries. One might think that liberation is a good state and Sayuja Mukti is a good state, but that is not the case. That is not the case at all. Absence, it's like, as we say in this material world, what Krishna says in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, that, Arjun, do not mistake the happiness that one gets in this material world as real happiness. This happiness is only the absence of distress. And because people do not understand, or they did not have the true taste of bliss, people mistakenly think of absence of distress to be the happiness. And the same thing happens in Sayuja Mukti. Because there isn't the threefold miseries of life, people think this is the souls who want to achieve that kind of liberation, they think that is a good state to be in. But that is not the case, because we know that they can, there are consequences of being in that state for a long time. So, and it all comes, so, again, going back to the demons, all these demons. So it all goes back to, one becoming so afflicted with the material nature, where one's false ego becomes so inflated that one ends up recognizing one's own self as the master, and they're overwhelmed with the false ego, and it makes us, it makes them Krishna's enemy. So again, so how do we define a demon? We've just said that, having false ego, having envy is what makes one a demon, because they want to be the master. They do not recognize Krishna to be the master. I mean, as we saw in the verse yesterday, Shankajura, he was thinking, I'm rich and, I live in the heavenly planets. I have everything. I should be the one enjoying beautiful women. And here is a cowherd boy, a nobody, enjoying himself with a beautiful women. So he thought himself to be greater than Krishna. So how do we define this false ego? So what is false? As Bhakticharu Maharaj he was defining false ego, and he was saying, how do we define false? False means that which is not real. And what is ego? Ego is the identity. So unreal or mistaken identity, that is false ego. It's mistaken identity, not real identity. So thinking that I am the enjoyer and I am more powerful than Krishna. And that is what makes them demons. Because our real identity as that we are not the enjoyers, we are the eternal servants. We are to be enjoyed by Krishna. We are there for Krishna to provide enjoyment to Krishna in the forms of various rasas. So individually, it can be some as a jiva as small as an ant, or it can even be Indradev, who became so proud, and we saw the Govardhan Leela. It could be anyone, but individually, any jiva in this material world has that false ego in a smaller or in a lesser or a greater form. And the greater that false ego and envy becomes, the more demoniac they become. And how can we come out of it? It's Krishna consciousness is the only process that can reverse this situation. Devotion, practicing, getting that connection with Krishna. And people don't understand this generally, and they mislead themselves, okay? And that is why, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jeev Jago, wake up souls, wake up sleeping souls. You do not know what you're doing. This human life is so precious, do not waste it. Okay, and so we have to understand that, this human life, we have to, even Maya teaches us, Maya is the external energy of the Lord. And although Maya, we think of Maya as our enemy, but Maya is serving the Lord. And how is she serving the Lord? She's serving the Lord by giving us miseries, and engulfing us with various types of miseries, which teaches us, lessons and lessons and lessons to let us know that this is not our original constitution. The material world is not our natural home. Our natural home is somewhere else. Just like when we are at home, we are relaxed. We are the happiest. We are relaxed. We can be in anywhere. However, if we go to work, we go somewhere else, we are not in our natural position. So similarly, Maya is also telling us that, just go back. I'm trying to teach you all these lessons by, giving you all kinds of challenges. So go back to Godhead, practice devotion. And what do we need to practice devotion? What do we need to turn ourselves away from becoming a demon? We need to have good fortune. We need to, again, Bhakticharu Maharaj says, we need to have three things. We need to have good fortune, we need to have intelligence, and we need to have sincerity. So we need to have the good fortune, as we have read, and we'll come across in the Srimad Bhagavatam later on as well. And we also, I think we came across this in Canto 1 as well, just, a moment's association with a devotee, the mercy of a devotee. So we need to have that good fortune, to have that mercy of a devotee, and also the good fortune to be able to recognize the mercy and walk along that path of devotion as being received by that mercy of a devotee. And then we need that true intelligence to understand that this really is a mercy, that, we need to practice devotion to go back to Godhead. That is exactly what the purpose of this human life is. We are given that consciousness. So true intelligence is recognizing that purpose, that true purpose of the human life. And then we need the sincerity to practice that, to practice that and make that happen, and not let our human life go away in waste. So we do require all of this to take us away from becoming a demon and take us towards being a devotee. And so that is the only option, to serve Krishna. As Gauriya Vaishnavas, we aspire not just the Vaikuntha planets, but we aspire to go to Golok Vrindavan, the topmost Vaikuntha planet, and be with Radha and Krishna. And as we know, the entire Vaikuntha planets, Vaikuntha, Kunta is anxiety, Vai is no. There is not going to be any anxiety in the Vaikuntha planets, and that is where we get the actual, that is our liberation. It does not need to have a name, liberation, but that is the liberation when we are with Krishna and serving him. That is the greatest happiness, not the 5 types of liberation that is given usually. That happens. So Krishna gives us this free will to choose to go towards that path of devotion and become an associate of him, or to go away from that path and become a demon. It is very, very difficult. We are told that what happens at the time of us leaving a material body, the way we think, how we think, determines where we are going. And if we think of material things, we will be, whatever is our desire, based on our desire, our qualities and our karma, like Jarabharat, who was attached to a deer and he got the body of a deer. Even Indradev, he was cursed to be a pig, and he was enjoying in the body of a pig, forgetting his own duties. It's this attachment that again keeps us from breaking that cycle of birth and death. And it is this huge attachment that makes one a demon. And when we look into these various demons, when we talk about their pastimes, and we see their various pastimes, we will see it is their attachment to the various things, whether it's attachment to pride or falsity, or beauty or wealth, or various attachments, or power or fame. It is these various attachments that make them a demon. Whereas the devotees are able to slowly take themselves away from these attachments. However, you can live in Krishna's sansar, you can live in this material world, but still be detached, as we saw in how Parikshit Maharaj was able to do. And yesterday I was listening to Prabhuji talking about Dhruva Maharaj. What a wonderful session, and where he was talking about how Dhruva Maharaj was able to use his wealth for the service, and how that is detachment, because whatever one acquires due to good karma, one really shouldn't be using that for own bhoga, for own, own sense gratification, because as soon as one does that, then more karma is accrued. So what one has, so both what one has due to good karma and due to bad karma, one really has to get rid of them by attaching all of them towards Krishna consciousness, whether it's through charity, or doing other deeds, or penance, or sacrifice. And the main and the most important austerity or sacrifice we can perform in this Kali Yuga is Nam Sankirtan. But that is what our goal would be. When we want liberation, we want to go back to Krishna and be associated with him. And Krishna wants that. Krishna personally comes to take us back. We've seen Gajendra. Krishna came in a split second, in less than a second. And Gajendra doesn't even call out Krishna's name. He thinks, and Krishna thinks that, Krishna knows that Gajendra is remembering him. When we read the pastimes of Gajendra in details, we would see that how Krishna even reads the mind of Gajendra. We see the great devotee Saint Tukaram. Saint Tukaram, he was Maharaj, Saint Tukaram Maharaj. He was a Marathi saint in the 17th century, and the Vaikuntha ship, a Vaikuntha plane came to take him. It was perched on a tree, and all the villagers, they saw it. And Tukaram Maharaj, he went to 3 or 4 of his friends and associates, and he said, come, I'll take you back there as well. I'm going back, so you come along with me. But those associates did not want to. They did not want to go with Tukaram Maharaj back to the Vaikuntha planets. So the Lord either sends his own spiritual associates or Garuda or someone to take the true devotees back to him, or the Lord comes himself. But our duty as devotees is also to ensure that we take the love of Krishna consciousness to others and try to make them understand the true purpose of life. Again, it is up to their free will whether they want to be attached to the material or be detached from the material world. We saw in the case of Tukaram Maharaj, his associates did not want to go back with him to the Vaikuntha planets. But we make Krishna the happiest when we try to not just love him, but also share Krishna love with others and allow that love between Krishna and others to happen as well. Because at the end of the day, we are all his children. So and that is the perfect state that we should try to aspire to acquire, not just getting together and merging in Krishna's effulgence as the demons are liberated. We don't want that. We don't want to be attached to the material world. The real nature or the real liberation is when we are engaged to eternally serve Krishna in a loving relationship. And that is what, through the various leelas, we are being told over and over again. And it's reminded to us again through the various names given in this verse, the various names where we are told that details about these leelas we will hear in the 10th canto, but the names are given, how these are the demons, and how a few other names are given who are the associates of Krishna and who do not want such liberation, who just want to be engaged in that loving relationship with Krishna. And that is the teaching that we need to take from these leelas of Krishna, from these pastimes of Krishna, as being told to us in this chapter. So with that, I end the discussion today. If I've made any mistakes, any corrections, please do correct me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for this excellent class. Mataji, just for my own clarification, I know you explained it well, but I had to go and open the door. So what are the 4 types of mukti? So Sahajya is the one that the demons get, where you get into Brahma Jyoti, and that is spiritual suicide. What are the other ones, Mataji? I know you explained.
No worries, Mataji. So there are 5 types of liberation. So as you rightly said, Sayujya Mukti is merging into the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence. The other types of Mukti one is Sarishti Mukti. Sarishti is achieving the opulences equal to that of the Lord. That is Sarishti Mukti. Then there is Sarupya. Rupa is how you look. So Sarupya Mukti is having the same form as the Lord. The third type is so that's Sayuja, Sarishti, Sarupya. The fourth type is Samipya. Samipya is living in as a personal associate of the Lord, living close to the Lord. Okay, so as a personal associate. And the last one, number 5, is Salokya, Salokya Mukti, or Loka means place. So living in the Vaikuntha planets, living near to the Lord. So these are the 5 types of liberation. But as devotees, we do not want for liberation. We want just to be serving the Lord as Krishna's Nitya Das.
So none of these 5 are for us.
For us, no, we want to be eternally engaged in serving the Lord, as we are told in Chaitanya Charitamrita as well. So, Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das, our original constitution or our real identity is to serve the Lord eternally. Nitya Das, every single moment, all the time, to serve the Lord. That is our true identity. And that is what we should aspire for.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. I think we've exhausted our time. Can I request Parth Prabhu? Prabhu, is it possible for you to end the session?
Mataji, I have one question.
Sure.
Mataji, so then you said that if we can't get liberation and go to Golok Vrindavan, what is the way as a body or as a subtle body? How do you go to, and what form do we have when we go to Golok Vrindavan as Nitya Das?
So Mataji, when we reach the spiritual world, our bodies they are spiritual bodies. They are not made of the 5 gross materials or other gross materials as we have in this world. So even in this universe, when we go to the higher planets, the body loses its material form, and we get subtle forms. So and that is the reasons you have the ghosts. The ghosts, they don't have a material body, but they have a higher position than us. They are, not spiritually, but body-wise, they have a higher position because they have a subtle body. They don't have the material body. But when we reach the spiritual world, it's just our souls going. We have completely spiritual body made of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. That is our identity. That is what we will be made up of. That is also our souls. They are still made up of that. But coming into this material world, they are contaminated because they are circled, or they are encompassed with the material energy, and they are completely under the control of the 3 modes of material nature. So, and because of that, the souls, we identify with the material body, and that is why we think this material body is I. Whereas once this material body is gone, that I is gone, we detach ourselves from all things material, and when our soul reaches the spiritual, there is no conception of such material. It is completely Sat, Chit, and it is total spiritual form, like the Lord, because we are parts of him. The form we get over there is completely spiritual. As to what form we get, whether we are a gopi, whether we are a gopa, whether we are in a vatsalya, we are what kind of rasa we have with Krishna, as we become, as one becomes more and more elevated, one is given that knowledge, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Partha Prabhu, do correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said that in the spiritual world, his form, or he was a manjari. A manjari is someone who serves the gopis. So once one becomes an elevated devotee, his or her true identity, true form in the spiritual world is revealed by Krishna. Krishna to that person, that jiva. So that jiva takes that role, or becomes that role, because that's their original role in the spiritual world. But the body is spiritual. The body is made up of, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Nothing like what the material bodies are made up of, with blood and bones, etc., or the gross materials, the 5 gross materials. I'm not sure if that answers your question, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, it answers my question. And where can I find that book where it's written that Bhaktivinoda Thakur found out who his original form is and what his original duty is?
I tried to find the source, Mataji. I think I came across them in various teachings and lectures, but I'm going to try and find the book. I'm not sure. Okay, I'll find the source and then I'll give that to you, Mataji. Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you very well.
Hare Krishna, may I ask a quick question, please?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. I know we've exhausted the time. Thank you for your very nice discourse as usual. I wanted to ask you, when you say Maya inflicts the miseries on us to help us to get back onto the spiritual path and sort of thing, but is this due to our past actions that she inflicts the type of miseries on certain people?
Yes, yes, Mataji. It is karma is such an intricate topic. It's just we don't understand the workings of karma. Yes, in a very, very basic form, it is based on the miseries people get. Think of a person being born in a rich family as opposed to someone in a poor family, or in a very, very country, in a country where there are no wars, as opposed to in a war-ridden country. So there has to be past karmas which enables, or which requires for them to take birth in specific situations or families, or even be in different specific places in specific times. So that is very, 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 very much based on their karma. And the material energy, and they are all acting under, so they're all part of this whole business of giving the jivas the various situations they go through, or the various what's the right word, the various experiences they go through in life. So yes, Maya is very much, because the 3 miseries of life, they are very much, everything is under the control of the 3 modes of Maya, the 3 modes of material nature. So Maya is overlooking all the things that a jiva experiences in this material world. So the only way to, and it's so difficult to come out of the clutches of Maya, because it's Krishna's energy. It's like fighting Krishna's energy with the jiva energy, which is impossible. And so that is where we take the shelter of Krishna himself, or his true devotees in the form of our gurus, or devotees and associates, Krishna's devotees. So we take their mercy, because only they can take us, or they can guide us or help us how to tackle Maya. I'm not sure if that makes sense, Mataji, but yes, in very shortly, Maya is responsible. All the material and the material energy is responsible for everything that a jiva goes through. But of course, that is also very much dependent on the jiva's karma, the jiva's desire, over billions and billions of lifetimes, and what that individual soul has accrued over the billions and billions of lifetimes.
Thank you so much. That does make a lot of sense. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Mataji, also in all the liberation forms, are those liberation forms in Golok Vrindavan, or are they elsewhere?
So, Mataji, if you get, say, Samipya, if you're staying, if you're a close associate, Salukya, you'll see you live in the Vaikuntha planets near the Lord. Sarupya, yes, you get the roop, or you look, you have the form. So yes, they are liberations, and they are nearer to the Lord in the Vaikuntha planets. Yes, but we have to understand that these liberations are not independent. They mustn't be aspired to independently. If we want to be near the Lord, we must aspire, oh, let me be near the Lord just to be able to serve the Lord. That should be the attitude. So the liberations should not just be aspired to as independently wanting just to have the Lord's rupa, or just be near the Lord, or just have the Lord's opulence, because then that is not what we are here for. But yes, if you're near the Lord, if you have the Lord's rupa, if you look like Narayan, you're automatically in the Vaikuntha planets. But again, there are sorry, my voice. They cannot be taken as independently. Don't know if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Mataji, just one clarification on the same point. So if we are Rupa, we are same looking like the Narayan. Is it we don't want to aspire to be in that mukti so that we don't get the ego that, oh, look, I'm looking like Narayan? Or what is the reason why Sanipya, we do want to be with the Lord. So why don't we want to be with the Lord? Why don't we want to look with him, like him? Why don't we want all the Aishwarya he has? Is it because then we'll start envying him, or?
Yeah, no, Mataji, again, Prabhu, do correct me if I'm wrong, but what the Acharya says that when people want liberation just for liberation's sake, that is wrong. That is not right. However, if people are there in the Vaikuntha planets, the Lord is so merciful, he gives someone the same rupa, or the Lord gives them, his close association. So such souls, they want to serve the Lord. So it is, so what we are being told, when we are being told that as devotees, we mustn't just want to get liberation, we mustn't just aspire for liberation. We are being told, do not aspire for these types of liberations independently, without the attachment of wanting to serve the Lord. That is what we are being told as the wrong thing. We are not being told that, you cannot have the same form or be there in the same place as the Lord, because being there, automatically we would be serving the Lord. I mean, in the Vaikuntha planets, everything is serving the Lord. So a soul that has reached the Vaikuntha planet automatically has that love for the Lord. It may be in different mood. It can be in Madhura Ras in the Vaikuntha planets, or or it can be in Aishwarya Ras if it's in if someone is praying to the Lord in the Narayan form. But it can be in various moods. But if a soul reaches the Vaikuntha planet, then it is automatic that they do love the Lord, that they are in a loving relationship with the Lord. So the liberation, whether they have the same rupa or the same loka as the Lord, that becomes secondary to them. Serving the Lord becomes that is their primary goal. So all the liberations, they already have that. The devotees are already liberated because, they have that already, all of that. But it is something, what we are being told is that we mustn't think of them as the primary goal. And that is where things can go wrong. If we think of the liberations to be the primary goals, then that puts Krishna Prema as secondary. Whereas it should be the other way around. It should be Krishna Prema as primary, and the liberations will automatically come along with Krishna Prema, because loving Krishna will automatically lead us to the Vaikuntha planets, or the topmost Vaikuntha planet, or Golok Vrindavan if you're lucky. we will get, we will be his associates. We might look like him if that is what we aspire for, but that mustn't be the soul. That should be the secondary thing, not the primary goal. The primary goal is Krishna Prem. Primary goal is loving Krishna in whichever form. In, you know, if you go to Hanuman, he's always going to have the form of Ramchandra as the master he serves. So we may serve the Lord in the form we feel the closest to, and that is the original form that is revealed to a devotee as one becomes a very elevated devotee, and that's what was revealed to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But so you know, some might want to pray to the Lord in as Narasimhadev, or you know, as Lord Rama, or Krishna as Bhakya Bihari or Shyam Sundar. But that is the main goal. The liberations automatically follow. All these, you know, being there with the Lord, that automatically follow. And because they are by default, they are already inside devotion, they are not mentioned separately. They are mentioned separately as liberations only when people want to acquire the liberations independently. You know, taking them, you know, they just want to look like the Lord because the Lord is so good looking and attractive. They just want to have the opulence of the Lord because the Lord is so, you know, is full of opulence. Does that make sense, Mataji?
Yes, it is. It just means it's a side effect.
It is the side effect. I mean,
and we
the
just
devotees
concentrate
already
on
have all of them. Yeah, it's just
concentrate on our goal, which is being a devotee, and then and the servant and the servant and the servant of the servant, and then whatever we get, whichever mukti is just whatever Krishna wants us to have.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you so much for that clarification. Over to you, Path Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for your nice and wonderful discussion also. Just I mentioned one point about the liberation. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is clearly mentioned, one, there is 5 symptoms of Bhakti, Suddha Bhakti. Then one is called the Moksha Laghudakriti. It means the Moksha, it means liberation is very negligible on the path of the devotees. Devotees don't want that one. It is automatically come like the byproduct. When we are doing bhakti, bhakti means the loving service of the God. All the muktis are come. Although devotee does not want that one. Even it is written many times this history that bhakti don't any also the junior devotees they don't want also. Also other the 4 types of bhakti maybe sometimes devotee want. But who is a highly elevated devotee, they don't want anything. He only want full time, the pure devotional service to the God. That is the more important. So our duty is that to get the Krishna Prem, and that is the topmost goal. Mukhya is just it is a follow that one. That is no problem to getting a Mukhya. We are supposed to be not worried about the Mukhya. Mukhya automatically comes. That is the things. So thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone, also for the discussion. I request everyone, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra for glorification of Her Grace Panchali Kar Mataji. Please join. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Vanchakalpatarurvesya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Har Grace Panchali Kar Mataji ki jai. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Excellent class.
Krishna.